brand new day. And we'll be making history. Are you with me? Won't you stay? We have come so far. This is who we are. And like the rising sun, we have just begun to play our part. This is the time we form the chorus. Lift your voice for those before us. We can rely on one another. Feel the pride, let's show our colors. We are heroes and...
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time it is, wherever you are. This is Gail of Gaia, and this is Free Range. And we graze on wild ideas. So today we're going to be talking about the powers and perceptions of the divine human soul. We all have the capacity to recognize and utilize our innate powers and perceptions. And while we may be at different stages of development, we may each have our unique inherent talents. As we all have our innate inherent talents and gifts. We all have the ability to tap into powers and deep perceptions of spirit. We talk about personal anecdotes as well as methods that everyone can implement. And we will be going back and forth between Michelle Marie and Jenny Lee. So we have, both of them are authors, both of them are intuitives, and Jenny's a seer in addition. So I'd like to bring them on. Hi, Michelle. Hi, Jenny.
Hey, how are you?
Michelle.
Michelle.
Oh, no. We can't hear you.
Did we lose Michelle in 3 minutes?
Huh?
Okay, yeah, it seems like it. She's not saying anything.
Michelle lost her audio there in like 3 minutes.
Michelle. Okay, I'm sorry about this, people.
That's all right. I want to welcome everybody in chat. It's great to see everybody in chat tonight, you guys. While Gail is attempting to reach Michelle, I think via text, maybe.
Yeah.
No, maybe.
My phone back on.
Yeah, you might be able to reach her by phone because she certainly cannot hear a word from us.
No, I don't even know if she's seeing us. I'm trying to sign language. It's not
It's
working.
funny how we just went live and she just all of a sudden dropped off there.
Yeah. Well, I guess she can't see the.
She looks like she's channeling us.
Well, maybe we should start with Jenny. You want?
Absolutely.
Well, you start with the subject.
Let's see if we can fix Michelle up here, and I will contact her by phone. We can just start by, what do you perceive as our powers, our divine powers within?
Well, the thing is it's our conscience, and we send everything in a direction now and don't have any doubt. It's getting to that point that we're seeing it faster in a quicker process that's happening. But that's the thing that I always teach, is not to doubt at the millisecond that you start doing this. So it's important to I call it, don't go in the left brain. And because when you're going to analyze and think about things too much, and then you're going to disconnect that energy that goes directly to the source of the energy that we need to get the information for right away. So I'm seeing that change. We're going into that superhuman capability, and it's a situation that people are getting comfortable with, but they're not quite there.
I'm sorry. Just Grand Central Station here.
Your mic is muted.
That's right. Michelle, do you hear us, Michelle?
Yes, I do.
Okay, now we can hear.
Oh my God.
Okay.
You weren't responding, and so we thought your audio wasn't working. As soon as we came back on live, we were trying to contact you, and I don't know, maybe you were in another world for a minute.
Well, no. There was a button with an arrow. Apparently, I was supposed to push it, and I didn't know it because the little thing down here said, "You're in the show. Everybody can see and hear you." But I didn't see or hear anybody. And then I pressed the little arrow, and then voila, everybody was on.
Well, I was just, I don't know, did you hear what Jenny had to say about the powers that we're talking about, the divine soul, and how they seem to be coming online? I was just going to toss that over to you and have you give your perspective on that as well. I think it's happening.
Yeah, it's happening. I think the evidence that I'm personally experiencing, and I'm hearing other people are experiencing, are lucid dreams is a really big one. Like really lucid dreams, and you remember the details. And I've often had dreams and awakened with like a detail, like an exact address, the numbers in the street and everything. And I'm like, what's that about? But this is really different. This is really ongoing and prevalent every night, lucid dreaming. And also specific.
Have you heard other people that tell you that they're having the same experience? Okay.
Yeah.
Too, Jenny? You too,
Yeah,
Jenny?
and they're having it, and then not that I'm always happy about some of the dreams I'm having, but they are elusive because I think some of the negatives trying to control and give you a narrative, and you have to shut it down immediately and fast and not accept it too. So I think there's two sides that are happening we're being tested.
I think you hit the nail on the head in a lot of ways, because one of the things that I just was reading about is how, and this sounds really bizarre to people, but they have actually weaponized the astral plane, and I don't know how, through MK Ultra or through whatever means they have, technology that they have, to get spirits to be more willing to try to attach to people. I just found that was very interesting. I have more details. I just read that this morning.
Vibrational frequency that you're holding, and your intention, and your conscious use of protection helps with all that. You know, when we're aware and can sense energies and, protect ourselves and realize that there are different vibrational frequencies. There's a spiritual realm above the astral realm, and, tuning into the highest realm is very powerful.
I think that's where we get the most information too, is when we go up into we grab it out of the higher realms, whether it's from our higher self or from other higher beings that are that's out there in that field.
Well, that's what I was starting to say too. The connections with the higher beings and specific, detailed guidance. I've always had the connection, which is where a lot of my books and writing has come from. But just really like sweet, pure messages and guidance have been coming through also lately.
Do you get your Jenny? Do you get your information from dreams, meditation, visions? How do you get it? How do you get your?
Well, it comes from different sources because, to me, I'm always having a conversation in my mind, compartments of what I need to look at. So, if I want to go to the higher source of creator, I kind of go up with the mind and then pull in dimensional images, because they don't look like this realm at all. And you have to describe them in a different way, and symbolism, colors, frequency, veils, all kinds of different things. So I see it in different than you do here, because you're looking at it at a 3D process, and it's more heavier here than it is up there. So it's more lighter. It's elusive and moves in a very slow pace, and you can identify it in detail different. And also the language is different. It's not an English format. So it comes at you, and it connects to way your mind works, and they know how your mind and your conscience works and how it downloads into you and what you'll accept and what you won't. So that's the whole thing. So there's different conscience that you go into at different levels, at different veils of understanding, and how they present it at the time and how you're going to accept it. But they know how you are. They know when you're going to accept something and when you're not. So that's when sometimes they put it repeatedly out there over and over and over till you get that process of acceptance.
When you're ready, the information comes.
Yes.
Okay. I have a little clip that's really interesting with, I don't know the one guy's name, but Billy Carson has something to say. And I was just going to play like a 2-minute clip. And I think you'll like it. So hang on one second. Let me get that up. Oops, no, there. Okay.
Described as involving advanced spiritual technology, incorporating divine matter, wisdom, and knowledge.
But what's interesting about the darkness in this yin and yang, it always seems to be a battle against each other. But in the end, for the most part, the light always seems to win. Even if it takes a long period of time, the cycle happens where the darkness leaves and the light comes in. We're sitting in a room right now that's pretty well lit, right? If I was to turn on something dark, I couldn't make the light.
We're not seeing it.
In other words, there's nothing there's no darkness I can inject into this room with these physical lights that would make this room dark right now. Mm-hmm. But if I turn all these lights off and just do something as simple as turn on the light on my cell phone, the darkness will flee from that light instantaneously.
Billy ties this idea to the concept of obtaining Christ consciousness. He interprets the return of Christ not as the physical return of Jesus, but as the awakening of Christ consciousness within every individual.
What we're talking about is obtaining Christ consciousness. I get a little emotional about this because it's so powerful.
Mm-hmm. True.
Sorry. So we're talking about this. See, Christ never said he was returning. Jesus never said he was coming back. He said that Christ will return. We're talking about this. When every single person gets this right, it's back, and we're back in the golden age.
Yep.
It's important you understand the laws that govern our universe, because in understanding them, you can get in harmony with them and attract what you desire.
It's something that you really got to pay a lot of attention to.
I just thought that was kind of interesting. If everybody attains Christ consciousness and we're in unity and our intention is to do something, we had a modest view of that with the Hurricane Milton. When people come together and with a similar intention to bring down the energy on that hurricane and so on, it can be done. We're very powerful beings. That's an example of our power. But
so when I had several people call me on in North Carolina that were in the storm, and they have the power to decide their destiny if they have faith in what they believe in. And at that moment, I was talking about what you're hearing everywhere now, because you can go back to my YouTube and talked about it, is the horns and the bells, and then like you call them in and you really truly trust that angelic presence and that higher conscience that's going to protect you. And I was looking at TikTok today, and it's everywhere. And so when one person sets the pace and the others actually trust and follow that, then it creates a positive energy and it impacts you. We have control of that destiny. We have control of what protects us, what we feel we're part of. And we just got to trust that when that happens. Not only that, it's into another emotion. That's the whole thing. You can feel the love from it. And that's what he's talking about. It impacts you in such a way that's so deep into the soul of the heart in a different way that humans don't completely understand that love until you get on that other side, because it is a conscience of love. So it's amazing. And that's what you kind of felt on the East Coast, because they work together as one, and they felt that love in a pure way.
We had many groups getting together by Zoom at appointed times and doing the meditation, with definitely set at the vibration of golden Christ love, colors and energies and intentions and visions, and just really united at the heart level with caring, compassion, intention. And so it was like different clusters networked together in the power of group consciousness, by that wide bandwidth of consciousness, all directed to the same intention. It was really powerful. And the love, you could feel the love, compassion, and, it was really great.
They talk at the very beginning of that same video. I think I show a couple minutes of that too, because it just all fits right now. And they talk and address quantum entanglement, and how, sometimes when an idea or an invention comes out there, it's not just one person. There's people all over in different places with the exact same thing. And so they talk about that a little bit. So let me bring that up again, and that's right at the beginning. So it'll be easy for me to find. So just bear with me. I'll get that. Now let's bring this to the beginning.
Dimension. We're talking about obtaining Christ consciousness.
Billy Carson silenced the interviewer with his affirmations. Please pay attention to what follows. This may be the most eye-opening video on the internet.
For people to understand how they're manifesting and how they're even getting ideas, a lot of the times you're entangling with information. If you go into a laboratory and you take two particles and you use a laser with something called parabolic down conversion, you can get those particles on the same frequency. Once you get those particles to vibrate at the same frequency, you can entangle them.
When particles vibrate together like this, they become entangled, meaning they are connected in a very unique way. When particles are entangled, their properties are linked. For example, if one particle spins in one direction, the other will spin in the opposite direction no matter how far apart they are. If you change the spin of one particle, the other one instantly changes its spin too. This connection happens faster than the speed of light and doesn't depend on the distance between the particles. Einstein referred to this phenomenon as spooky action at a distance. Now let's apply this concept to our thoughts and ideas. Our brains are made up of neurons that communicate through electrical signals. These signals create connections called synapses. Scientists have discovered that sometimes these synapses seem to disappear and then reappear. This strange behavior suggests that our thoughts might be interacting with other dimensions or realities, similar to how entangled particles interact. When you have a thought, it could be that your brain is connecting with information from another dimension or a different part of the universe. This idea means that our minds might be capable of accessing a vast pool of information beyond our physical reality.
This could be the reason behind ideas popping up in your head, people unknowingly developing the same inventions at the same time in different parts of the world simultaneously, roughly around the same time, and also the capability for people to manifest things and attract things into their life.
This could also account for why people around the world often develop the same inventions or ideas simultaneously, despite having no contact with each other. It could also explain how people can manifest things and attract them into their lives. Billy believes that the way a person thinks and focuses their mind.
I'd like to give you an example of that. On Friday, I got together with some friends and we used this for manifesting. So my car had been totaled several months ago and I'd been using my mom's car and that was sort of wearing thin. And anyway, it was like really time to get a car. And so my friends and I manifested a car and we said, you know, we're going to be taking a trip together, and we all went there. There were 3 of us, and we were, you know, talking about the details and how it felt and so forth. And so we shared the intention, we shared the vision, we talked about the sensation of it already having come to pass. And then 2 days later, I bought a car. I got a car. It was all miraculous. Every bit and piece fell into place. And it had been 4 months. But we manifested with group consciousness, shared intention. You know, consciousness is light, and we put our light together. And we, you know, use the powers of manifestation, intention, conscious unity. It worked. I have a car now.
The other thing that's coming online for people, and some people have already had a little bit, is telepathy. That's another power that we have. And as I understand it, as the vibration of the planet goes up, these things come more and more online. Would you agree with that? What about you, Jenny?
Yeah, I do. So I guess, like I said, each person's like wired a different way with spirit, and they decide how you're going to be wired. And so for myself, this is the thing that I've noticed when you're getting into that information. It's like the millisecond of that information starts. You just don't doubt, and it'll keep coming consistent, and the details, the information. And when I do the future predictions or downloads, I'm not in a doubt at all. I just completely get exactly what they want, take it, and then put it where it needs to apply. I don't go into that left brain doubt process. So it's the whole thing, because they know you're capable of doing it. They know you're capable of receiving the information. And then you have to decide, am I going to trust this, or I'm going to drop it? That's the thing where you see it happens, you know, when it's consistent and strong, and then it just manifests, and it keeps manifesting. And then you have all those details, and then some, you get halfway point and they're like, yeah, I don't know. So it really depends on your trust with spirit. It's your trust with your conscience, your trust with the higher realms, your trust of how you are actually wired in that trust.
Doubt. So doubt is basically a big blocker of
Yes.
your own ability to get information from the field.
And that's why I teach people blindfolded. Put a blindfold on, because once you're shutting these 2 eyes off, you're going into conscience. You can see through darkness. You can see through the light on details, because both of them have a process that you can learn from.
Well, and it stops all distractions too.
Yes.
Especially if you're somebody that's easily distracted. But yeah, I find that that's a really beneficial to do that. How do you think? What do you think would help people be able to dispel those doubts? Because I have to admit that's some problem I have. Is that where am I just thinking and analyzing, or am I I don't know. How do you have a distinctly different voice?
It takes practice and recognition that these frequencies are coming in, and that we are all one, and that we are connected. And I'll tell you, one day I was writing. I was out in the woods in a camper, and I wasn't really thinking about receiving downloads, but I was writing and everything, and suddenly somebody came along with a noise, loud noises, and I was like, wait a minute, that wasn't me. And then things that were coming through, I clearly didn't know of my own accord. So it was just information coming through. I realized it, recognized it, and kept writing. There is a difference, though. I mean, sometimes I can tell when it's my higher self and I just know, and other times it's more like it's channeled and somebody wants you to receive this message and write it down. There are, differences, I think, in receiving and where it comes from. You can feel the difference. You can learn to discriminate, where it's coming from.
Do you have that same experience, Jenny, or is yours different, or what?
I think, well, like I said, we're wired differently. And so on my different abilities on different information, I can sense and feel their frequency, how it's going to come in. And then higher self there's just this bigger energy that comes in. And that's usually the one where I'm not asking for information and they're just like pushing it on me. And they're like when they want to tell me where a cell phone's at, they're like, it's here, go left, go right, here you go. So it's just a different information at different times. And then it goes back to trust. And so I'm always having a conversation constantly. First thing in the morning, last thing at night. Those are the last things that happen at the end of the day and the first thing that start my day off. So I was born like this, so I don't know what it's like. Like I told you, I don't know what it's like to be alone in a different way, because I've always had that going constantly. So so when you're already wired like that, but when you start to develop in it and you're doing it, it's like a circuit that comes in, and then you start to trust it more, and then you see it more, and then you start to develop it more. So it's literally you and spirit and the higher conscience develop trust, walking the path.
Oh, okay. Well, so do you believe other people have these abilities even though they are wired differently?
Yes, I do.
So
it's like your DNA. It's just a different way. It's spirit that knows the way through your conscience of how it's going to work for you on that process. So, and everyone that I work with, the first thing I do is lights out, blindfold, because you have to trust what you're sensing and feeling. Because these two eyes can really distract you and put judgment in it. And so when you really can trust your inner self and your inner vision, then that trust builds up and you don't have any doubt.
So is that what you do when you were meditating then?
My eyes are closed. Yes.
Well, okay, intention is a very important part of this whole process. How do you think people should write it out, or should they make it very, excuse me, it always comes on in my show, I couldn't plug it. Anyway, I was going to ask you, how do you focus your energy with intention on, you just keep thinking the same thing over and over again, like say with the hurricane thing, just as an example, because that's something that's real and recently happened. But it's just a matter of just totally envisioning. For example, what did you envision, Michelle?
Well, we had a guided meditation by somebody from a group that I belong to, from a place called the Higher Realm. So sometimes we do guided meditations, and he used the language of light and took us through like a journey. And, we followed along, and he did a very good, led us through this journey, this process, this guided meditation. And so that was really good that, we were unified in all the aspects. And,
did he have you thinking of making it get smaller or anything on that?
To dissipate, move in another direction, really with sending it love and just, seeing it dissipate and move away from, people. And yeah, so the intention was to basically to do no harm and to send it as energy love and raise its vibration also to love. So
what about you, Jenny? Did you do a meditation or at that time or any kind of...
you know me, I draw it all. So the angels above, I did the drawing and they said draw the picture. So and I think I might have gave it to you in here.
I wasn't. I don't know why, but my messenger on Facebook is not working normal at all, and I looked, and there weren't any pictures or anything sent. They're holding it up or something.
Yeah. So that's the whole thing about when it. Okay. So it's, oh my God, it's too bright. So it's a angelic. See, my camera's like, it's an angelic picture. You get it on Instagram too, or.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So I have to go in.
Yeah,
it's usually at night, and then they like, here's the assignment. Draw this. Give description of this. Then release it. Give it to them. Tell them to use it. Tell them to use the barrier. So I've been talking about the angel downloads for a while, and then they build it up. So before it's coming, they get me prepared. So then they're like, okay, draw it, apply it, and send it to them. And that's what I do. And that's why, like on Instagram, all the drawings are in there, because sometimes I forget about them, of what I'm supposed to do. So they presented the barrier of the angels, and that there was only one opening, and the negative couldn't get. There was only one door getting in and out. So there was a barrier. So they said when this comes, they need to call in the angels and have faith in it. You have to go to the core of your whole being, and then as a collective together. And then the horns are important to call them in. It's really saying what you really mean down to the core of you, not just saying it to entertain. So when I did the picture, and then I gave it. It's like a struggle sometimes when they tell me to do stuff. I argue with them.
They're very specific, aren't they?
Yes. Right. So then I presented about these presents 3 weeks ago, because it's going to build up to a situation. It's always going to build up to a situation. And now they're like, this is a situation. And then when it was presented, then I knew what we needed to do. And each person has a podium of light that they carry for those situations to help others. And I call it, like they were talking about the anointed oil. That covets over us, protects us, and keeps us in a barrier. So that was the thing that they showed me. So they can go back to my YouTube 3 weeks ago. I was just talking about it.
So you see that in a vision then when they're talking to you too. So
that's why I have to draw everything.
That's pretty awesome. Turned into more of an artist than you ever expected to be, right?
Right. I didn't expect to do any of it, of the drawings.
Michelle, you had a little, I don't know if it was a video, I don't recall now, that Ladybug magic. That I don't know if you wanted to bring that up. I don't remember what. I think we did it a year ago or so, or something like that, or I don't remember it. So
I think I'll just talk about it. I don't remember the video right now, because we didn't talk about having that on here. But to tell you the truth, there's a ladybug right over there on the table behind us, because we just got done doing a Ladybug magic shaman journey just before the show. Yeah, we were doing the full moon's coming, or anyway, the new moon's coming, and so we just did a letting go and transmuting and setting intentions. But Ladybug Magic really stemmed from a book that I wrote called Ladybug Magic, and I wrote it like 40 years ago. I hate to date myself, but I pulled it out when I was doing a manifesting group, and we started using the ladybug for the symbol of the morphogenic field of our unified consciousness, manifesting things together. So I have a book, and then we're creating the people to get together using group consciousness. We're using the ladybug as the symbol of our unity and the morphogenic field that we are empowering and building to give power to our intentions. And apparently it's working pretty well. But that's what Ladybug Magic is all about. So anybody can join the field. You know, you can your, Ladybug, think of ladybugs, think of your intention. Really think of joining a powerful morphogenic field. That's what it's really all about. It's really about unity.
Maybe you should explain what a morphogenic field is. There may be people that don't know what that means.
Okay, well, Rupert Sheldrake came up with it, and it has to do with quantum physics, and it has to do with light. And so it's the instant transference of ideas, energy, memory, through the light, because light carries information. So the field is when you're unified. It's the entanglement. That's the entanglement. And so you're unified through entanglement, through shared intention, through shared visioning. And so you create this field, this powerful field of light, which is consciousness. You put it all together. And it's like increasing the bandwidth of something, like going from, in internet, they kept increasing the bandwidth to make it more powerful. So you're adding all of your, attention together. You're putting attention all in one place with intention, and that creates a vortex, and that creates a morphogenic field. So we're consciously creating morphogenic fields, which is a powerful storehouse of energy that can build up, used for manifestation.
Okay. Jenny, have you gotten anything on current events or anything that may be coming up?
Actually, they're talking about these pyramids being activated, right? And there's actually 2 pyramids that I've talked about. If you look at chat,
where are they located?
One's in Egypt and one's in Antarctica. And this is the drawing. Remember, I did, and I showed you the 2. One's over here, one's over there. There was 2 major ones, and then each one has that gold energy with it, and then the center of Earth, and the inner Earth and everything. So everything, all these pyramids are aligned. Then I said these are connected to the ley lines, and I did a post on the ley lines too. So, and I'm feeling like this extra anxiety we were talking about today, and I'm wondering if all this stuff is activity that we're dealing with is affecting all of us, and we're just like, oh wow, this is overload on this stuff. But
feel that way too, Michelle, because Jenny and I were talking about that before it came in. It's like really.
Oh, absolutely. Things are really, really intense. I mean, it really takes a focus on being centered and still to maintain the equilibrium, because things are very much accelerating, one, and there's a lot of intense energies that are almost like free-floating anxiety, creeps in. If you're
What do you guys think will happen to the energy field when they start showing those, tribunals, and there's nothing else that anybody can watch? That's the only thing you can see. What do you think will happen to the energy field? What do you think, the Schumann resonance or the whole resonance of it? Do you think people get angry, shocked, or?
All of the above. It's going to be a lot of different levels.
So if that is the case, that's going to lower the planet's vibration. Is that right? At first or initially?
Personally, I feel like so many people are awakened and connected to the higher realms that there's sort of a stabilizing factor, and that a lot of people came in with missions to help during this time specifically, and with the power to unite and help. I think that Christ consciousness, Christed souls are gathering together to mitigate these, energetic shifts.
Okay. Because that's bound to affect people. But actually, it'll also create unity, which is a good thing, because protecting our children, and that's big. It's real big. And people just haven't known the things that I've known now.
Right.
What do you think, Jenny?
So I did a drawing on where it shows the city and it shows everybody with a puke bucket and hitting the pavement hard, and the ones that are awake will be standing and looking down, but they chose that. They chose to hit the pavement hard. They chose to be in denial. And just because this is happening doesn't mean they're still going to accept it. They're going to follow into their houses. They're going to tell you not to bring it up. Don't talk about it. They have to go within themselves. There resides in the truth. When it hits, then they'll come out and you see them interact more. So each person has a different level that they can accept the truth. So when that happens, that alone, when that conscience of truth comes in, the negative energy is just dissipated, because it's not about fear anymore. It's about acceptance. So when that acceptance changes, that enlightenment comes in, and we work as a collective together. That alone changes the Earth's frequency, with the pyramids and the ley lines and all this stuff that's and the pink fog, which I've talked about for years, all that stuff, and it comes together. So, and then the golden energy, the golden particles, all that stuff so the negative cannot breathe or exist in that. So the whole attitude changes. That's what's already happening. That love frequency is coming in. We're interacting with it. We're a part of it, Well,
and we have had, as we move up, that's such a good thing, because so many people have attachments with negative vampiric type entities that they don't even know, they don't even see, but they do exist, and they live off of the loosh of lower vibrational feelings, which makes it very easy for them to attach. Mm-hmm. So, but once the initial shock and acceptance, and then it's an opportunity to rise with knowledge and foresight and ability to never let that happen again. For once. Of course, it's not all going to unfold all at once. It's going to take some time, but I'm actually looking forward to it. Do you think something will happen this month, by the end of this month, by any chance, or?
Are you asking me?
Anybody?
Oh.
Either one. Go ahead, Johnny. Yeah.
Michelle can go ahead with this first.
A lot of things are continually happening. And so people are awakening, people are becoming more enlightened, people are becoming more empowered. We are changing. I am changing as far as I can tell from what people are saying. Everybody's changing. Some people may be stuck in the old paradigm, depending on if they've opened the crack of awareness and started letting in new information. Some people, really, it's hard not to. I mean, we're heading toward the precipice, and the whole collective consciousness is being affected by so many people awakening. But even if it's a small percent of people really becoming powerful, it really affects the whole. And so I don't think it's going to be as bad as it could be. I guess I would put it like that. But I think that the powerful people who are Christed and unified will create a space of unconditional love and compassion, and have that space to be of service, be comforting, help to enlighten, just sort of be there. Even if you can't really speak on a verbal level, you can be there on an energetic level of love, compassion, and comfort. And so, holding space of unconditional love, a lot of holding space.
That makes sense. What do you agree with that, Jenny, or
Yeah,
any other
and
perspective?
there's certain levels that they're doing that in, but the thing that's changing is where you're seeing these 3D AIs, all these other programs are going to just completely dismantle in front of you. That's the whole thing. That whole interpretation of that is just going to be dismantling, and the ones that I've talked about this for a while, they're not going to be in shock. They're like, oh, it's an AI, it's a program, okay. And there's a certain population that I've talked about, a percentage. Then those collective will come together, and they're the ones that'll step up as the warriors and lead the people where we need to go. So we're at a dead end process financially. And I told you that the XRP, once that hits, once it comes online completely, you're going to see that energy alone is going to change this world, because there's an excitement that's going to come from that, because that's the first layer. I'm waiting for the XRP energy of happiness to hit, and they're going to be shooting through the sky on happiness, because that means all the other system is gone. It's like it's done once this comes online. So that changes that whole frequency right there. So I'm waiting for that to hit. And like I said,
That'll be big.
The climate of the cold weather to come in for a fresh air, because we can't do anything until our world changes and how we're breathing in clearly. And we have the energy, because we don't have energy right now. We need that energy to change this world. That's the thing. So there's a lot of things that have to happen to get there. Money, and we have to rejuvenate our spiritual body, and it has to work and function in a different way. And I think in a more of a super way, to go into that superhuman. So a lot of them, as I say in my group, they're holding the podium of light, and they have to lead now.
That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. I think we're going to see some beautiful things in our future. And I would encourage people to focus on what they want, not what they don't want, and just like we used to say, Jenny, just walk through the fire.
Yes.
Let it fall. Let
it burn to the ground.
The free energy and healing technologies are also coming in. There's a lot of positive changes. They're, going to soften the blow and make it seem more natural and be more seamless and organic in some ways, because if you are, suddenly realizing that there's a transfer of wealth, and healing technologies are coming on board, and free energy, and all this is coming in. You can see the little cracks of light and all the information coming in of things that are about to, be on board and become our new experience as our fundamental baseline reality. The whole thing is shifting. We are shifting, and the planet is shifting, and it's a good shift, really.
Yes, and it's, nothing can stop what's coming, and what's coming is all good in the long run. It may seem a little upsetting initially, but I think that'll pass rather quickly after it's been found out that so much of the dark ones have already been dealt with. That'll make it a lot easier to swallow, so to speak, as well, because they've already been, they made their confessions, which, made people's jaw drop to the floor. And but they've been dealt with, so that's big. And as far as, do you get anything, Jenny, on the election happening or not happening?
God, it is like a sack of shit that is at the last very phase, and if they play this out, it is pathetic. It is going to be so pathetic because it's people that are awake are so over it. They already know. Who wants to stand in line and watch this shit show? Nobody.
Yeah.
So I just don't put any energy behind it because the only capability of this happening is we're not done to a certain point of, but I will be pissed. I think everybody will be pissed off. Like, why are we, and especially the awakened people, they're like, there's no sense for it. What are you going to get out of playing this when we already know that Trump's the president? Getting this into there. We don't need to expose them anymore. They already look as bad as they can get. There's no more exposure on this shit show.
Well, they keep saying that, they want to get as many of the bad guys as they possibly can, and so that's dragging.
Well, they're all dead. They're all dead.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you look around, there's not much left.
When you think about that, if you really think about it, how many actors and actresses do you see out there? How many new movies do you see out there? How often do you see some of these politicians anymore? How many CEOs have stepped down and probably are in their private jets trying to find a place to hide? There's a place to hide.
Right.
So humanity has a lot to look forward to. That's very good and very positive in spite of everything that's happening now, because what's happening now has to happen. It just has to happen. And
it is the changing of the guard. It is the changing of the guard, and this whole thing is part of the divine plan. And we are evolving through it. We are growing through it individually and collectively. We are reaching, higher states of consciousness and evolution. And to me, that's its true purpose, and it's serving its purpose. All these cataclysms that are catalysts and so forth, are really helping us to evolve and come into our power. And when we are realizing and upgraded and using our superpowers, we have the stage set for us to activate and do that.
Okay, it looks like we're going to give it a wrap here pretty soon. What about you, Jenny? Got any final words or anything?
Well, I mean, this energy, this feels like we're getting shocked. So this is the thing. I've been by a ley line. It is,
wow.
And what's in the ley line and all that stuff. And they've told me a long time ago, you don't want to be right by one because it's so powerful. So, there's got to be a process where they're going to lighten it up a little bit because we might fry through the damn thing. So, so the thing is, just expect some powerful energy hitting you in a different way. It's literally like we're a circuit board, and now it's coming online in a different way. And the
it's
best
like
way
they reversed it, and now it's going back the way it's supposed to be.
Right. And so could this get us into the higher self and get us into that, that superhuman, they call it, or the super conscience? Yes. If that's what it takes to get us out of here, if it takes that so we can go into that process, we're for it. But just get it over with, rip the Band-Aid off, and let us be in it.
Humanity is a lot tougher than they think, actually, I think. They can handle a lot more than they've been given credit for. And most of humanity anyway. So anyway, I guess that's a final wrap race, and we'll be back again next Wednesday night. And I'd like to mention that tomorrow I'm doing a show with Mike King, who does a great deal on real history and real news. And he does a great job, and I'll be talking with him tomorrow. He also has a secret plan to save humanity and a number of other things we'll talk about because he's in the know. Anyway, thanks for listening. Thank you, Michelle. Thank you, Jenny, for being here, and we'll be doing this again. So thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you.